the floor over you.
Walking the floor.
I'm walking the floor. Walking the floor over you.
Hola, senors and senoritas. This is Chris Shiflett coming to you from Nashville, Tennessee, where I've been holed up all week, getting buck wild for the Americana Fest. Been doing tons of gigs. You can probably hear it in my voice, I'm guessing, because not only were we on tour for about a week and a half. I think the last time I podcasted was just after the Seven Peaks Festival out there in Colorado, but then we just got into it. We went to Milwaukee and I think we did 7 or 8 gigs in a row after that. It was great. We had so much fun. Milwaukee, Chicago. Oh man, the Songs for Soldiers Festival outside of St. Louis was a hoot. All the shows were really fun. We played some really fun ones. Indianapolis at the Hi-Fi. That was a crazy one. That was probably the craziest one. The crowd was just nuts that night. I don't know what was going on in Indianapolis, but we got to get back there for sure. All those gigs were with our buddies in the Cordovas, who we got to hang with every day and play with, and that was a lot of fun. And then we shot over to Nashville, where I am now, where we've been all week, and just jumped into the nuttiness of Americana Fest, where we've been doing gigs like every night. Some days, 2 gigs a day. Bobby Hotel in the Basement East. I jammed at Kendall Marvel's Honky Tonk Experience over at the Exit Inn, and I've been doing podcast after podcast. I got so many podcasts in the can now. Not only this wonderful Todd Snyder interview, but I've got Yola, Delbert McClinton, Jack Ingram, Randy Houser, interviewed Kendall Marvel again, and later on today, I'm going to be interviewing Robert Earl Keen for my podcast, and he's going to be interviewing me for his podcast, which if you haven't checked out, you should. It's called Americana Podcast 51st State. So that should be coming soon. And then later tonight, I'm going to play at the Opry again. My second time at the Opry with some wonderful classic legends like Connie Smith and Jeannie Seely. So I'm going to definitely bug them or their representatives, see if I could line up interviews in the future. So we'll see. Last night I played at the 30 Tigers party, and that was great. So all the folks from the label had a good time, saw a bunch of friends. And the real beauty of this week almost being over is I don't have to be stressed about losing my voice, because as you can hear, I lost it a week and a half ago. And then tomorrow morning I'll wake up at the crack of ass and fly home. So that'll be good. Get a little rest this week before we head on back out this way for... I'm coming back out with Foos for Bourbon and Pilgrimage. So bouncing around a lot, kids, but it's good. I like it. I dig the work. Okay, let's pay some bills with our old friends from Zounds. I was recently in Chicago, and I got to hang out with Billy from Zounds, and some of the other crew from Zounds came down to the show at Shuba's. And I don't know if you know, but Zounds.com has been around since 1996. It all started way back as a small retail shop and has since grown to become one of the biggest and best badass online musical instrument retailers on earth. And I can tell you from firsthand experience hanging out with those folks that Zounds staff is all musicians. We just sat around talking about gear and pedals and guitars and amps and all that stuff. They know the gear and they speak the gig. And don't forget, you never ever get charged interest. Ever, ever, ever. Everyone else will. Read their fine print, but Zounds does not charge you interest. So get on over to Zounds and get your gear. All right, let's get to the interview. All right, so I've loved Todd Snyder's music for a long, long time, and I've been wanting to do an interview with him for pretty much as long as I've been doing this podcast. So I got his email from Elizabeth Cook over a year ago, and hit him up to see if he'd be interested, and he was, and we would email back and forth every now and again, and finally this week, amidst all the craziness of Americana Fest, we managed to find a quiet moment and have a great conversation. Todd's an amazing songwriter, artist, author, who's had nothing short of an extremely adventurous life and career, and probably a life and career that would have killed off a lesser artist once or twice or three times. And now I got to make him a heavy metal mixtape. So that's my homework after this. This is Todd Snider on Walking the Floor.
I was talking with my girlfriend. I told her I was stressed.
I will warn you, because I just learned this the hard way. I've actually had to learn this the hard way a couple times. But don't put your phone anywhere near this fucking thing, because it'll go blah, 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 through the interview. Which I think just happened from my interview with Jack Ingram.
Yeah.
Cool. Because he had his phone sitting right
Yeah, he
there.
did.
Yeah, and I was listening back to someone like, oh, fuck, what is that?
I don't have one. I've never had
the
a
dreaded
phone.
iPhone.
Yeah.
God damn it.
I never got a phone.
Really?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
Fucking amazing. Great.
Still don't.
God, I want to be like you. You're a
Rambling
fucking
Jack
hero.
Elliott doesn't have a phone.
Nice. No landline either?
I have a landline.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. This is great.
Yeah, man. Thanks for doing this. I'm sure you got a crazy fucking week.
No, this is the only thing I'm doing.
Water, anything?
I'm good. Do you need anything?
No, I'm great.
Everybody
We
good,
have
man.
Topo Chico and a nutsack over there. I see. So, yeah, there isn't.
Just come down.
But
there,
there's that one over there. Yeah. We do have a Marshall stack, so
I'll
we're
get
in
them
good shape.
after.
Okay.
I'll get them briefs more up here. So.
Cool.
Alright, I'll see you in a little bit.
Alrighty, so you're one of those interviewees that
Yeah.
is tough because there's just so much to fucking talk about.
Me?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the people with like long careers that have made lots of records are always
Yeah.
the fucking difficult ones because
Yeah.
there's just so
It
much
goes
you want to
on,
fucking
yeah.
get to. But I thought I would start with your book
Oh, right on.
that I read earlier this year and just fucking loved it.
Oh, man, that
So
means
good.
well, thank
It was
you.
like so in your voice. It seemed like like almost like a compilation of like your between song stories or something.
Oh,
You know what I
right
mean?
on.
I'm curious how you wrote it.
There's a guy, Peter Cooper, who's a singer-songwriter who works at the Hall of Fame. And he used to write for the paper, and he was like a drinking buddy. And so I got offered a book from somebody, and then he typed it, like we would just sit there it took about 2 weeks.
Right.
And I don't remember how, it was like,
So would you just sort of talk? And
yeah, he
tell
just was
them?
like Jimmy Buffett, and I was like, okay, what do you want to know? And he just keep going.
Nice.
Now let's do Jerry Jeff.
Yeah.
And he did a lot of the work on that book. I'm proud of it when I read it. I feel like he helped me sound like a better person than I would have, and process shit as it was going.
Right. Well, that's kind of what I wanted to ask you about. Did that like churn up things in your life that you
Yeah.
just completely forgotten about? Was
Yeah.
that like uncover a bunch of
Yeah.
your own life to you in a way?
I was surprised to, and I guess I didn't, like, as I went back, I realized I never had felt screwed or didn't have anybody I was mad at.
Right.
And I've been told, I guess I just assumed I would, because everyone says in music you get screwed a bunch.
Right.
I might have just missed it.
It's not generally a resentment-free career.
Yeah, and I'm pretty, so far so good, That's
I love
right.
It. There was like almost like the running theme of the book seemed to be like you exaggerating or exasperating like exaggerating was not what I was.
That
It was like
too.
you exasperating whoever you were sort of working with at any
Yeah.
whether it was like Keith Sykes or Jimmy Buffett or whoever. It was like kind of seemed to be a running theme.
Yeah, it's still, I try, I've tried to be better and more, but yeah, it's still a similar way. I guess, I don't know why that's always been, but I still get along with them all. I talked to Jerry Jeff today.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
cool.
doing good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you work out your between song story stuff? Like, is that stuff that you like? Do you plan that before you? Because it's so
I have.
it's so like it's those are like perfect stories, you know.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, and I think of that as the reason I'm asking that is because, like, you know, I go out and play and stuff, and you have those nights where you just feel like the crowd, so you're so tuned in with the crowd, and like, you know, you can kind of almost like say no wrong, and every little story you tell gets a laugh, and so you wind up making a point and all that stuff, and then you have those nights where you just sort of, you're like trying to tell the same story and it just doesn't fucking work. You get lost in it. And you're like, and it sounds bitter or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's a funny thing. Like I've thought about that. Like, maybe I should sit down, almost approach it like a stand-up comic or something. Or kind of have a bit, you know, or something.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that's kind of how you went about doing your thing.
Sometimes I get it's like half and half, I guess. But yeah, like Ramblin' Jack is someone I looked up to, and so that part of it I learned from Jimmy Buffett, and then like the how to tell a story before a song, which was he always told me not to tell anybody, but
nobody listens to this podcast. It's fine.
He just said if you stick to why you came up with the song, and then so I started doing that. But I think I've just played so much. A lot of those stories, I think I just told them because they were the reason I came up with one of the songs I was gonna play. And then over time, it just kind of got to be, it's where like I could do it. I remember one time I was playing with Don Was, and before we went on, I was like, you know, I'm gonna tell this. I think it was a song that ended up on a record. It's called The Mushroom Story, and I'm telling this story about how I'm in high school. And I quit football to take mushrooms. And like 10 minutes before we did that on stage at Bonnaroo, I told it to Don, almost verbatim, and then went out and did it again because I've been doing it all year. So that was kind of like being in a play or doing stand-up.
Well, it's funny because, you know, I start getting self-conscious up there because, like, what you said is exactly right. Like, there's a story connected to the song,
right? And
the story is just the story. It's gonna be the same story on Monday as it is on Thursday. Right, you know what I mean? Like, there's just the one story. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. So unless you're just gonna make shit up, so I will sort of tell the story of the song, but then I can see like, oh man, that chick was here last night and the night before too. She's heard this story. Yeah. Like, I remember I was playing in Bakersfield not too long ago, and this girl in the front finished my story. Finished the line for him. I was like, oh, fuck, I got to come up with this fucking story, man. But I'm like, what do I do? There's just the story. Yeah. That's the story.
And I've had it, and it's like, why are you following me?
Right. Come to less shows, goddammit. That's why I'm not getting further in my solo career.
I have that. You're doing good, though, I think. Do you play tonight?
Yeah. I have a grinding 10-minute set tonight.
Damn.
Yeah.
Where
That's
at?
some Americana Fest action right there.
Yeah.
It's really close here. It's at the Basement East. So,
I love your records, man. There's two of them, right?
Yeah.
Dig it. I didn't expect them to be Americana.
Oh, right on, man. Yeah.
Is that what you were doing? When did you get in with the Foo Fighters? Is that like 90s?
Yeah, I started. It just passed the 20-year mark.
Damn.
So 99. It was summer of 99.
Fuck yeah.
But it was the band I was in before that was this band called No Use for a Name that was like more like a punk rock band.
Oh,
and the singer for No Use for a Name was the guy that really, this would have been like the mid-90s, and he turned me on to like, you know, You and fucking old 97s and Whiskey Town and, you know, to Uncle Tupelo, like all that stuff, Steve or whatever. You know?
The 90s.
He kind of hit me to all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So it was just something.
Right on.
It was really like, because I grew up listening to, you know, rock and roll and heavy metal and stuff like that,
right?
You know, and
punk rock. I missed metal. I got it later.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like a few years ago.
Yeah, it's never too late.
It's never too late to go metal.
It's there waiting for it. Yeah, it's a funny thing with music. Like, I mean, so we're just getting off topic here, but why not? You know, like I always wonder about that. Like I got into a lot of like classic country so much later. Yeah. You know, like I didn't grow up with it, and so my knowledge base is really skewed based on, you know, because I wasn't just hearing it off the radio in fucking 1975 or whatever. I was getting it like, oh, you should listen to this, you should listen to this. So it's like almost out of order. You know what I mean? Like I think with a lot of music, especially when I think about like heavy metal or punk rock stuff that I grew up listening to, like I always wonder, like, can anybody appreciate this if they didn't like it when they were 14?
I wonder. Well, I guess they still keep coming along.
Yeah.
And turning 15 and getting a jacked up stepdad and going AC/DC.
Yeah, right. Right.
It
Yeah.
works. I hope.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
hope.
I
they
just don't
still
know if
help.
you can, like, does Black Flag sound like something you want to hear when you're 40?
I
And that's
wonder.
when you just got turned on. Like, I don't know.
I wonder.
Yeah.
Because I haven't had a punk phase, or like I missed it, and I'm
gonna
from
make
the
you a
80s.
mixtape, sir.
I would like that. I know the Ramones and that, but
Yeah.
And with part in the 80s, that's when I got into 70s. Like I found Prine and Jerry Jeff and Guy Clark and all that, like in 1985 or 6, and just that was my thing. And I remember being really jealous when Kurt Cobain came along. It just, like, I guess, not that I thought I was going to be that guy, but I just didn't think there was going to be another one of those guys.
Right. Well, it kind of feels like now it really doesn't feel like there's going to be another. At least not in that
That was
genre.
the last one.
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, yeah, it's crazy,
yeah,
right? Like, are we
yeah.
living through a time when guitar, bass, drums music is going to become the blues or jazz or something? You know
I
what I
do
mean? Like some
think
kind of
it,
niche
Elvis
thing.
to
I don't
Kurt
know.
Cobain. That's my. I do
Right,
think.
yeah.
I think that was it.
Yeah.
After that, Jam got popular. I always thought maybe there was something. If you're a Jam person, you can generally walk through the house. You can walk right through your own crowd, and they won't know that you're the guy in the band. It's a very anonymous thing.
Yeah.
That kind of caught on. I wonder if people got tired of people killing themselves. Although lately, some jammers have been killing themselves. So.
Yeah. God, yeah. And I think I know what you're referring to.
Yeah.
I know he was a good buddy of yours. And
Yeah.
I didn't know him personally, but I was a
Yeah.
fan of his work. And,
Yeah, he was a good
tragic.
cat.
Yeah.
Neil Casals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Cash Cabin.
Yeah.
Your latest record. Like,
Yeah.
what led to you working there? And what for people listening who don't know, like, what is the case? Was the Cash Cabin actually Johnny Cash's cabin?
Yeah.
Is that like his home studio or
Yeah,
something?
it's a cabin behind his house. It's a log cabin that he put a studio in, and he and it was kind of like his man cave behind his house, and he recorded there, and like Dylan would stay there, and then when he got sick, I think that's when they started really recording there, and then he died in there. And
So he did a lot of those American recordings?
Yeah. And then I made up some songs with Loretta Lynn. And
Really?
Yeah.
You guys wrote together?
Yeah.
Really?
We wrote a song called She's Got Everything It Takes to Take Everything You've Got. And it's on her last record.
Wow,
She
I did
sings
not
it.
know that.
And,
Amazing.
Right?
How was that writing with her?
I just adore her. She's really pretty, and also heavy into heavy into songwriting. We made up
Yeah,
three.
because she actually wrote a lot of
Yeah,
those songs that
yeah.
were hits, right?
Yeah, she's as good. Yeah, she's as good as anyone. She talked about Dylan like she called him that kid from Minnesota or whatever. Like you could tell that she was.
Right, yeah.
He wasn't intimidating to her.
Right. There probably, I can't imagine there probably isn't a whole lot that is. To
right,
her, right?
right,
You know,
yeah.
she's probably seen some shit.
Yeah, and she had fans at the gate, like Elvis. That was what I
that's
thought was
cool.
weird. Yeah, like not long ago. Anyway, I got to go to the Cash Cabin to watch John Carter produce those songs, and met John Carter, and then I started having like a reoccurring dream about the place. It was like a hallucinogenic-y phase anyway, and then but David Schools said, well, that means you're supposed to go out there. So I started hanging out there, started doing poems first and then songs, and then the band went out and played. And then I eventually just, there was this Martin of Johnny Cash's that John Carter was letting me use. And the more I would do stuff with just that, the more I kept feeling like that was what I was supposed to do at the time.
So was there a version, you said your band was out there playing at one
Yeah,
point?
I
Is
did a
there
whole
version
record,
of,
yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
like
okay.
a rock version.
Of the same songs?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is that going to see the light of day?
I think so. I think that's volume 2, maybe.
I was wondering if there was going to be a volume
Yeah.
2 and a 1
Yeah.
at some point. Yeah.
That's what I think it is.
Yeah.
And then, but now I don't know if it was going to come out in January. But now that Neil's gone, I don't know.
Oh, did he play on it?
Or no, he did not.
Oh.
Really. No, so I don't know. It's not. I'm not. But he was going to tour it. So.
Right.
But yeah, and there's a few songs that weren't on there that are on this. And now lately, I've still been out there working on songs with John Carter, and I'm getting a lot of music lessons from him too. Or like, he understands country music really, really well, and the stuff that I know he knows it a lot better than I do. So
Right.
like Willie and Waylon and
Sure.
Chris and all that.
Yeah. So when you say music lesson, you mean like listening to old records and just getting turned on
Yeah.
to music, not like,
Yeah.
this is a D7.
Yeah, and like
Right.
it's a lot more like listening to a Johnny Cash song and then listening to a Willie song and listening to a Waylon song and hearing how it's just three guys finding a different way to arrange the same song. And
Right.
finding their own place to put the kick in their own, you know.
That's an interesting thing with like covering other people's songs, because you realize, especially when you're trying to cover
Yeah.
those guys that you just talked about.
Yeah.
And any classic, from Merle Haggard to George Jones, like so much of the song is the singer and the delivery
Yeah.
and the fact that it's fucking Willie Nelson singing it.
Right.
And you don't fucking sound like him, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and trying to finding a way to interpret their songs instead of just trying to do what they, it's like, that's a real challenge. you know?
Yeah. And those, it's weird. I was learning how you could play them in a bunch of different ways. He's also real into lyrics, and so I think we're gonna make another record. I just need more. I got like 3 songs, I guess. So.
You know, one of the things I want to talk to you about, like, is in the world of Americana and certainly country and just kind of Nashville in general, and just music in general, because the same goes for rock and roll. Yeah. Most artists nowadays steer very clear of any kind of like controversial subjects, or if they do take a political stand, it's like over something that the battle over it's been won and fought by somebody else, and now we're all going to stand up for gay rights or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like, you weren't there, you know what I mean? Sort of taking very passionate stances on totally non-controversial positions or whatever. You know what I mean? There's that
Stop
thing.
poverty.
Right, exactly. You know what I mean? And you're not one of those folks. You know what I mean? You've got. I'm thinking particularly like, timeless response to current events or talking reality television blues.
Yeah.
Like you do address current events and do present your opinion about them.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. I'm wondering, like, can you reflect on that a little bit? Like, is that part of like the folk music tradition to you, or
That's
is
what
that
I
like
think.
like do you get pushback?
Sometimes, but not much.
Because I imagine there's got to be a lot of people at your shows that don't share your
There
worldview,
are, but I think they put up with it. I always say at the beginning, like that, and I mean it. It's like I share my opinions because they rhyme, not because I think they're good or because they're smart, or that you should hear them. And anytime I rhyme anything, I can use that for work, and I need it.
Right.
And so, I try to do it with respect for other people, but if I come up with something about I guess the world, and I like it, I sing it, and I hope that if someone disagrees with it, that they're thinking, well, it's just a song, we're just at a bar. Right. I don't want them to go like, I don't want them to listen up closer or learn. I don't want anyone to learn anything from me at all. Just get my T-shirt and fucking leave me alone.
That's so good. Oh man, that's funny. Well, it's funny, I mean, I post the odd political thing and on whatever social media, whatever, and like I just get deluged with fucking hate comments. And
You
shit.
do too?
Oh yeah, man, like.
Constantly. I would think with rock and roll, although your band is like Springsteen-y and like really, really probably covers everyone.
Well, yeah, and that's it. Well, that's an interesting thing because it's funny because growing up, I just thought rock and roll was like rebellion music or whatever, like
it's
we're
lefty
gonna
shit.
challenge the system or whatever, that kind of like goofball shit. But like, and I remember having it was way back. It was like when I first joined the band, and when we first had like a post board on our website, and I would like post like an article from The Nation or some shit, and and then I'd be like surprised, oh my god, there's all these Republicans that love our band. Whoa, crazy. And they're really mad at me now.
I wonder why. That's odd to me. That's like, because you can so easy to ignore.
Well, that's what I always say to people. Like, you can just unfollow them. If you don't want the link to the Chris Hedges article, like, just don't follow them.
It doesn't offend me when Toby Keith rants about at all the war or whatever. I'm like, cool, singer saying his thing.
Yeah. I may not share the opinion.
But I like it when singers say their thing.
Yeah, I think I feel the same way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's interesting times because there's like a lot of, especially with social media. I don't know if you're on social media or anything, but like, that's a real. Well, you see, you didn't have a phone, I can dig it, man. I think I'm gonna throw my phone away too and stop looking at the comments on my fucking Instagram page because it's a.
That is people can talk to people can say, like, they can get to me because I look at Facebook, but I
Right.
heard that's old now.
Right.
But if somebody's mad at me, they can get on there and go, "You jerk."
Yeah.
Sometimes I get a lot of, well,
I don't mind if people have something to say that's actually
Yeah.
like, I mean, because I'm in the same feeling that you are. Like, I don't think I'm right.
Yeah, or
It's I just read some
said
article
what I
about
was
some shit and it
thought,
seemed
yeah.
like,
We're
made me think
sharing.
about this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Fucking, I could be dead
Yeah.
wrong, but
Yeah.
like, you don't have to fucking tell me which
To go to
my
hell.
whole family dies
Yeah,
or whatever. You know what I mean? Come
and
on.
I bet you, I bet.
Oh, I got a funny one recently that was like, I can't remember. I deleted it, and I wish I hadn't. But it was like, what is it? It said, "First off, your new song sucks. Everybody's fine, and I hope you die like Merle Haggard." I was like, "Why? Why you got to bring Merle Haggard in?
Wow.
What do you do?"
Wow.
Like, what?
And I wonder if that's just because you guys have so many fans. How could you not end? I'm surprised you don't have somebody stalking you like in the hotel.
right
right
yeah,
now.
Who knows? Yeah, maybe there is, and we just don't know it.
I bet the whole band's probably pretty lefty though.
Yeah, I mean, well, politics, it's like everybody's, it's like such a sensitive thing to everybody and such a personal thing that and I'm not going to fucking say what anybody else is into because they can say it themselves, but I would say that I'm probably way to the left of everybody in my band, but probably way to the left of it. Most people
Oh,
you
no
ever
shit.
fucking meet, you know what I mean? So,
I didn't know. So you like really active too?
Fairly,
Dig it.
Yeah, a bit, Yeah.
Yeah,
Wish
you
I
get into
could be
Woody
more.
Guthrie much?
Not as much as I should. I feel like. I mean, that's like, it's funny. There are people like that. Like, I appreciate Woody Guthrie,
Yeah,
of
yeah.
course, but I can't honestly say that I've sat down and spent years with his catalog.
Right,
Really,
right.
you know what I mean? It's interesting because like the way that he'll have like fucking 13 verses or whatever, and of course it's like a different type of. It's a different. What do you call like format? Or
Yeah.
so, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's a different thing. It's not hooky.
Yeah.
It's not
None.
poppy.
Sometimes it's not
You know what I
hooky
mean?
at
It's
all. Yeah, it's
but
like
there's so
getting
much
read
in
to.
the lyric. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And then
I'll make you a heavy metal mixtape.
I'll switch
you
you
make
that.
me
I'd
a Woody
love that.
Guthrie mixtape,
I'd
and
love
there we
that.
go. Yeah.
Did you ever see the movie the guy made on heavy metal that's like 10 parts?
I don't think so. What is it?
I watched like a 12-hour documentary on it.
shit.
Came away loving it.
Right.
And now I'll get Ozzy like crazy.
Yeah, I always think about how funny would it be when, what if you were like a heavy metal band in 1982?
Yeah.
How easy would it have been to be the songwriter?
Yeah.
I should qualify that, I guess, a little bit because easy is maybe the wrong word, but you could get away with just like your lyrics should just be like fucking baby suck it baby gonna have a
you
good
just-
time and the whole world go woo like there was no like you didn't have to come up with
just
shit.
blew my mind.
You know what I mean?
Oh my god. That's so
I mean, I guess
fucking
it's trying to have a
true.
nice melody or something, but yeah.
Yeah, just like nice tits.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Boom, you're in.
Boom. Next.
Fucking, where's my Lamborghini?
Yeah, no. God, what a time.
Yeah.
And then that guy did the Every Rose. And then you could have the ballad.
Oh yeah, gotta have the power
Slow
ballad.
motion video. Because Sylvie Rock. That's the only way we knew they were rocking.
I know.
Because they saw them doing it in slow motion in their ballad video.
Yeah.
God, what a time. You're gotta be sort of my age at least. Maybe
Yeah, I'm
younger.
48. I don't know.
Okay,
how
I'm
old you are.
52. So.
Yeah, and you're from Portland, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So you're a West Coast guy.
Yeah.
Well, like, what were your first musical memories? Like, so what sort of brought you to music? Was it your family or your
I think
friends?
so.
Or?
Yeah, maybe like when I was young, real young, Skinner and the Stones and the Doors. But then,
But who got you into that? Do you have older brothers or something?
yeah, and neighbors. But then, like when I got out of high school, my main thing was Jerry Jeff Walker. When I was about 19, I had been like sort of on the sofa circuit for about 3 years, and I saw him singing alone about. Kind of about how I felt like I was living, and I just thought, I'm gonna copy that guy, Dead Nuts.
How did you get turned on to him at that point? Because what is that, late 80s, maybe
Yeah.
somewhere around there? Because like that wasn't like
I was in Austin.
that wasn't
by
in
then.
vogue yet. You know what I mean?
I was in Austin, and I had just my family was there doing construction. And I started hanging out at this bar called Cheatham Street, where this guy named Kent Finley was all into that. And he had a cool open mic, and Green Hall was down the street. And I saw Jerry Jeff. And Jerry Jeff was alone, and at a low point, I think. But he had started off as a solo folk, like a storyteller, like an Arlo type, and he was doing that again. And once
And had you played music up there?
I saw him
like
play, and then I was
light
like,
bulb,
I need a guitar.
Right.
It was like, I thought it would immediately improve my chances of just bumming around.
Right.
Or getting a ride, or getting a place.
Yeah.
I was only 19. And then it worked. It like really changes if you are a freeloader and you can sing. It's a different game.
Totally. Yeah. I always try to explain that to my kids because it's like this goes back to what we were talking about just sort of guitar music being out. Like I sort of still keep my kids having taking guitar lessons and stuff, even though they don't really care that much. But I just kind of hope maybe someday they'll care, and then they'll go, oh yeah, I took those guitar lessons. Cool.
Yeah.
But I always try to explain to them, like, if you can sit there at like the keg party with all your friends and you can bust out an acoustic guitar and sing a couple songs, you're gonna get all the chicks, man. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Come on.
There's 30
It's a game
songs that
changer.
can get you anywhere.
Yeah,
Get you on any boat.
Yeah.
Fucking you don't need any
People
money.
want you around. I'll
They
get the
want
guy
you
with the
around.
guitar. You sing some songs.
Yeah. That was the way I got into it, really. And then I loved it. I was probably into poems first and writing, and then maybe wanted to be Hunter Thompson. And then I saw Jerry Jeff, which was like a folk singing version, I guess.
And were you always like a solo artist, or were you ever a band guy? Did you ever have a band guy phase? I mean, I know you've had lots of bands, but as you
Started off solo, just
Right.
doing the folk circuit. And then when I got my record deal in '94, they gave me tour support, so I put a band and made a record with a band.
For you kids listening, there used to be this thing called tour support. Yes.
And I don't know why, but I thought, if I ever have a chance to have a band, it's going to be now. So I thought, I'll go on the road with them. But they were saying I could. They said I didn't have to if I didn't want to, but also that I could.
What was that? So what year did you first get your record deal? And so what led to that? Because that's a big jump right there to go from like I picked up an acoustic guitar and started bumming around to like, and now I'm getting, on a major label and doing the whole boogie woogie. You know what I mean? What were sort of those intervening years there?
Yeah, it's the whole boogie woogie. I'm going to use that one now. God, that is what they should call it. Let's see. I started playing bars and it worked, and then I moved to Memphis and started playing bars there, and that worked too. And that was closer to Nashville, and I would play, and then I would play clubs and do my own songs by myself. And first came Capitol Records, and they'd sign me and drop me like really quickly. And then Jimmy Buffett found out about me through that. And
Wait, okay, so was that I remember this from your book.
Yeah.
I feel like I should have reread your book before I
that's
interviewed you, because there's so much good shit in there. But I remember a story in your book, and I think you were doing a gig in LA that was maybe some sort of showcase for your label. Was that Capitol?
Yeah.
And it went horribly awry.
that was Marguerite. That was my third record, yeah.
Okay.
I was just in a mess at that time. Yeah. I told everyone to get fucked.
Yeah, you maybe told the entire label to go fuck themselves or something like that. Like
It felt good.
what was happening? Was that like I just had this conversation with Jack Ingram about like the sort of gigantic pain in the ass that is to put a record out, and what people sort of don't see that goes on behind the scenes. All the people that you're like, as the artist, you're having to like coordinate with your manager and the label and the publicist and the booking agent. You're hoping everybody's working in concert and then all that stuff. There's just a lot of that shit.
Yeah.
Like was it that just fucking
I think
snapped you
so.
for a
I think
minute?
I'd had enough of it.
Right.
I remember the night we were all drinking, but I remember the thing that set me off. I don't know if I've ever told you about it. There was all those people were there, and somebody came up and said, "Everybody wants to say hi," and I said, "Okay, after that." And the guy said, "Okay, after." And then he left, and a few minutes later, he came back with everyone. And something in I just was like, enough.
Right.
I fucking had it.
That was the wall.
That was the wall.
Yeah.
And then I went out, and they started the song, and I think I just turned on everyone.
Right.
And then I jumped out on the boy, it was so quiet. Like when I went to open the door, you heard it go.
Usually the kunchinka is drowned out by the applause.
Yeah, right. or even just the murmuring.
Right.
Yeah, I remember when
Yeah.
I heard that, thinking, "Whoa, fuck!" And then I went over to some bar, and got, and I think River Phoenix had just died, so the bar didn't
Right,
want
'cause
me
you were
in
at
there.
the
I was
whiskey,
sweaty. I
right,
think,
yeah. Yeah.
I don't know why I would have been so sweaty.
And like, how long was it? Like the next morning, was your manager like, "Well,
That's it.
really?" Was that? And so, what was your reaction at that point? Were you like, "Well, fuck those guys"? Were you like, "Oh, fuck"?
Yeah, I kinda
'Cause,
had
you know,
a-
from like, I mean, you think about that, like, you know, you're working hard to get to this thing, and like, you know, most of us are like hardwired, like, don't fuck it up, or you
Yeah.
know, it's gonna get taken away forever.
Yeah.
And like getting dropped from a major label for a lot of people, especially in those days, it was sort of
Yeah.
like the waning days of the old fashioned record industry.
Yeah.
Like that was the fucking kiss of death in the biz. Like you
Yeah.
were dipped in shit, you know.
Yeah.
I don't mean you were, but like just in general, anytime any band got dropped, like that was like,
Yeah.
you know, you're sort of
and you
conditioned
had to
to think
go
like that's
explain.
fucking,
Everyone
well, I'm
said
gonna
it
go
was
get a job at
we
Starbucks
wanted to
or
be.
whatever.
Was what everyone used to say. We asked to be. That
Right,
was
yeah,
it.
right. Yeah, we're back in the clubs. Yeah.
Yeah. We hated that.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
like that would like really like that would have destroyed a
I
lesser
don't know
artist.
why I
feel
wasn't. I was. I mean, I'm not trying to excuse it by saying I drank and was fucked up all the time, but I kind of was more into the partying, and I was kind of in it for that. I mean,
Right.
I love music and stuff, but the
Yeah.
whole going for that big ride and renting a bus felt like a grift, or like let's roar and. I just felt like we were gonna blow it. I was like, this can't.
This can't last.
This has to end hilariously. Yeah, I don't know. And then after it happened, the Prine came right into my life like pretty quick. And I remember Jerry Jeff called me too. He heard about it, and he said you should get I'm sorry lights and put them on top of your house and just flick them on when you get back to.
Just put that on your amp every night.
Yeah,
on
just
stage.
I'm sorry when I get done with the show, click it on. Sorry.
Wait, so the next thing was Prine's label or was it Buffett's label?
Prine's. The first Buffett and MCA was together.
Oh, okay.
It was a joint thing.
Okay.
And I think by the time I was done, Jimmy had left. So like the first two records, he was like my, he was in there. And then the third one, he'd gone to somewhere else. And I liked all of the people. I don't know what got into me that night. I even liked a lot of those cats. I still talk to some of them. But I thought it was funny. Prine thought it was funny. And
How's Prine as a label head or whatever? Like, is he
Really
hands on
cool.
with it? Oh boys, his
he
label.
helped me with my songs and the recordings
really?
of the songs, and like he
What's
would
that
critique
like?
the songs. It was hard.
Like writing
he didn't
with-
like them.
with
The first thing he did was throw out.
Were you
like
a Prine
13.
fan at that point?
Knew it all by heart.
Right.
Before I met him, I knew it all backwards and forwards. And
What's
still do.
what's a songwriting session with John Prine like? Like, I mean, how?
It's more like I'm showing him what I'm doing, and he's saying, "You're not being honest. You're trying to be smarter than me," and stuff like that.
Right. Oh, wow, that's really
And then
good
I go
advice.
home and sit around for 2 weeks by myself and
What did he fucking mean by that?
be more vulnerable, or be simple. I got that from Loretta too. It's almost the same speech, and from Billy Joe Shaver. The ones I like seem to stick to the same thing.
Right.
Try not to, like, I love what Loretta said. No, try not to use poetry.
Right.
Ah, thanks.
Wow. That's
Isn't that weird?
That's really good.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I think I get what she means, because people call it poetry all the time, but I don't know if you're supposed to think that's what it is when you're the one making it up.
Like when I love talking to songwriters about like how the nuts and bolts of what they do. What is like? It's such an overused term, but what is your process? You know,
Okay.
when you're going to sit down and write a song, like, do you is it something you hit every, like, do you have like, I wake up, get my coffee, and I just do a little writing, or like, or is it, or do you just wait for the, an idea to pop in your head? Like, what is the actual way that you sit down and write a song?
Yeah. Boy, you got to tell me too.
I know that's the thing, right? Nobody knows.
I do it almost I do it in the morning, kind of compulsively, but I don't use don't use a lot of that stuff. Or that's like sometimes I'll be editing something that I've been working on for a long time, and like right now I have a few, and then sometimes, especially lately, the older I've got, the last two batches sort of showed up together. Like I feel like the stuff I'm working on now is showing up, and it's like all about like my personal dating life, and it's just gonna be this batch. I don't know if it'll be a record, but
Right.
feels like there's like with the Hardworking Americans, I was in that group, and it felt like we all were kind of tripping, and it got about 12 songs out of it. You know?
Right.
And I liked them. It was fun. It was a fun way to do it. And
Yeah.
just sometimes but the way I learned as a kid was to work at it every day. Like the guy that showed it to me said, you're supposed to do it every day, like a Nashville. It was more of a Nashville person.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you ever take a turn in that world? Like, did you ever work on Music Row or anything? Do publishing? No. We're part of that.
I like those guys. I know some of them.
Sure.
I don't know if I could make up songs like that weren't for a girl I knew. It's
Right.
hard for me to go, and she came in from, I'm like, I don't know who we're talking about.
Right.
And
right.
if I don't, I get stuck.
Right.
I don't really like make up hair colors.
Right.
You know, so that's been hard for me. But I like those, and I've had some songs cut by those guys
Right.
sometimes. Jack has done some of my songs. Him and I are as older friends as I have.
Is that from your time in Texas? Does it go back to
Right when we both started at the same time in the '90s, and he was sort of an Americana too.
Right. Were
And
you
so
guys
we toured
touring
together.
and-
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Just really got close real fast.
Yeah.
And I still talk to him every week.
Right.
Yeah.
What was Buffett like as a label head?
He was a lot. Well,
Did he also give you feedback on your songs?
no, not as much. He has a whole lot more going on, and was more really generous with. And he taught me how to talk to the crowd, but he didn't with my songs. He said they were good, but I liked him a lot. He was a different type of a person than me. Like he knows how to do a lot more than just fucking sing at a gig.
Right. Yeah.
And
Okay. He's got
know
an
that.
empire. That guy.
Right.
Yeah.
I can roll a J
There's
and play a gig.
There was the tone in your book of the relationship between you two was almost like a father son kind of thing, or like there were some funny moments of like letting down your dad.
Yeah,
Like, what
yeah.
are you doing, man? You
And
know.
I don't even know if he likes the book. I haven't heard from him. I've heard from everyone else. But yeah, I frustrated him, and rightfully so.
I mean, you touched on it a moment ago, talking about just that getting dropped from the label and just wanting to like have a good time or whatever. But it's funny. I mean, obviously you're a smart guy. You have a reputation of being like a hard partying dude. I'm sure, right? That's
I
not
have
lost
heard
on
that,
you. Like we
yeah.
can talk about that
Yeah,
comfortably,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But like you're also like prolific and make you record a lot of albums, you tour, like you wrote a book. I mean, like
Yeah.
there's a lot of output, like is your like creative output, like
Yeah.
is your reputation overblown?
I think so.
Right.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I
For people listening, you showed up early today, brother.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean,
That's
come
right.
on, let's set this
Sober
record
as fuck.
straight.
Sober.
Right.
coffee. I don't even drink anymore. But like that was the last time. I mean, like I've heard that I robbed the Belcourt. That was in the paper.
Rob the what?
The Belcourt Theater. I didn't rob the Belcourt Theater. With Elizabeth Cook, you know her.
Yeah, sure. yeah.
Supposedly she was with me, and we.
She drove the getaway
Yeah.
car. You had a little mask on.
Yeah, who thought that up? And then I liked it when I heard it. I liked hearing that. I thought it was funny. Took me a long time to tell anyone we didn't.
Yeah, some of those internet rumors are you're like, yeah, let's keep that one going.
Yeah, let that fly. Fucking rob some shit.
Out of the blue recently, because I was just doing a bunch of interviews around the release of my last record, and I kept all of a sudden getting asked, just like out of nowhere, I just kept getting asked, so you had to decide whether to be a guitar player or a professional soccer player. What was that like? I was like, wait, what? I had to do what?
How did that-
I played fucking AYSO till I was about 11. That's about as far as my
How did
soccer
that
career
happen?
gotten. I honestly have no idea. I think maybe somebody put that on my Wikipedia page or something.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know.
Just stuck that
I mean,
in
I
there.
do play soccer like in adult leagues and pickup games,
Yeah.
but absolutely guarantee it's nowhere near the professional level.
gave up professional
Right.
soccer.
Yeah, and I always think about that, like how funny, like that would have, if you wind that back, that would mean like I was, you would have to be around 18, I would think, to make that decision. I think of
Right.
myself at 18 as like a professional,
Soccer.
almost professional soccer player. Like I assure you, I was nowhere near it.
How old were you when you joined the Foo Fighters?
I was about 28. It was 99, yeah. It was kind of like, in some ways, it was really like a perfect age to sort of hit that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I had kind of gone through, I was at the point where I was like, I'd been in this band for years. We'd made a couple records, and like things were good. I was paying rent, making music, and
Right.
that was all good. But it was like I was kind of at that point like, all right, fuck, I did that. I don't know. Maybe is there some next thing, or
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like, because I'm not gonna like make it in that sort of traditional sense. Like, woo, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's not gonna happen. And then just kind of out of the blue, the Foo Fighter thing came along, and like even joining the band at that time, like I don't think people realized it was a much like smaller scale.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was like, and I was just old enough. Like I was still getting fucked up and making bad decisions and all that. Cause
Right.
I don't want to pretend that I was like some sort of picture of responsibility or anything like that. But like, it wasn't like being, I wasn't 19 and suddenly got handed a check
Right.
for $1 million.
Right,
And like,
right.
what would have happened then? I don't
Yeah.
know. It probably wouldn't have been very good.
Yeah. I can't. That happens to so many people too.
Right.
That I know I wouldn't. I don't even think I would have handled it well at 28. Like what you guys, because weren't you guys doing like arenas right after? I mean, I'm pretty quick.
Well, it was funny, like when I first joined the band, we were like, we played on some big festivals and things like that, but not anywhere near headlining, you
Right,
know. And like
right.
but like when the band went on tour, in most places we were like theaters and
Right.
big clubs, if there's like the big club in town,
Right,
I
right.
mean, it wasn't like we weren't at that arena level,
Right. Oh,
and
cool.
it took a few years for things to get there. It took a long time to really get there in America. America's fucking hard.
Yeah.
It's hard at any level. I mean, I'm out touring right now in a van playing to 75 people a night on a Tuesday, and
Wow.
that's hard too. You know
When
what I
did
mean?
you start doing that?
Like
Because
just
that's
going
kind of
out-
country, or it reminded me of Neil Young-y country.
Yeah. I mean, I made a record. I had a thing called the Dead Peasants for a minute. That was like the first time I ever tried to kind of like write some songs that were a little more acoustic based. I loved that music, but I'd never tried to play it.
Right, yeah.
And it was hard for me to try. I'm so my like comfort zone is like big loud guitars and everything going you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, so to try to do something a little more stripped back, what was really hard was trying to go out and play shows around that. And I just couldn't wrap my head around, why is this so shitty? It took me a long time to figure out I'm really shitty at doing this. You know what I mean? And then when I finally sort of figured that out, I was like, oh shit, I gotta work on this and this and that.
That's what I love about music.
Yeah.
I did a garage band, I have a band I play electric guitar in,
Yeah.
which is almost the opposite.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
And I joined that jam band for the same reason, wanted
Yeah.
to try to figure out something I didn't know how to do.
Totally, and that's the fun because, like,
I love
we're
it.
musicians. Like, if I went and looked at your record collection, I guarantee you, it's a lot of shit that people don't expect.
Right, yeah.
and that's true. I think of all of us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We all listen to everything. And
Yeah.
if you're, how could you go no, I won't listen to that. That's not
Right.
my genre.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, nobody's
It's
like
amazing.
that. You
Isn't it
know?
amazing how often people think you listen to the people that are just like you?
Right? Yeah.
It's
You
like
never
the-
listen to anything like you. You know,
Yeah.
when I'm not like out playing big rock shows, I don't.
Yeah.
I want to do something different. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think it's good. Like it refreshes you. It nurtures your, whatever it is that
I
you
think
need
so,
nurtured
too.
to go out and do it. You know? Yeah.
I'm glad you're doing this kind of stuff now.
Yeah, it's
We
fun.
should do a show. You did a show with Elizabeth, didn't you?
Yeah, I did a
That'd be
whole little
cool.
run of shows with her and Kendall.
Who's in your band? Is it California guys?
A couple guys who live in California. One's from Denmark and one's from Australia, but
right on.
they're LA-based guys.
Right.
And then I've been playing with a guy who you might know. This guy Adam Kurtz has been playing steel. He's based in Nashville.
Oh, right on. I've
yeah.
heard of him, but I don't think I've met him.
Yeah, he's around. He played with like American Aquarium for a while, and does whatever, all kinds of stuff. But yeah, it's been fun, man. It's definitely like it's fun to get out and play, and I feel like it. For me, I'm not like a sort of native. I haven't been like trying to front a band for a long time, so
Right.
I'm like every night I feel like I'm okay. That worked, and
Yeah.
that didn't work, and
Right,
don't do that again. And
Right.
I want my fucking guitar stay in tune, and you know what I mean. Like there's just all that.
There's a lot of
moving parts.
moving parts,
Yeah.
especially if you got a band with you. Solo is pretty easy. You can go out of tune. You can get a little more out of. You don't have to stay in perfect tune.
Totally, or you don't have to stay in perfect time. And if somebody's fucking around, you can stop in the middle of your song and make fun of somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And get that thing. I really like that.
My tempo is all over the place.
Yeah, and who cares? It's like great, you know. What I mean? It should be, you know. It's funny, man. I always wanted to be comfortable playing solo acoustic, and it was just last year I just forced myself because I was never comfortable doing that. It's so you're so exposed, you know. And I just forced myself to do a bunch of those shows, and then going out with Elizabeth was
she's
great
good
too.
at that.
Oh, she's really good.
Some
Tells
master
great
at
stories,
shit.
and you know it just. That's a different animal.
Yeah.
And it's something I like. Yeah, I'll come open shows for you anytime.
No shit.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, I'll open for you though. Are you live in L.A.?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing to gain. It's like a one-way ticket to cruise in the passing lane. I can't complain.
All right, that was the unbelievable Todd Snyder on Walking the Floor. How cool was that interview? It was fantastic. Make sure you get on over to walkingthefloor.com, and I'll post some links to some of the stuff that we talked about in there, and you can check out where Todd is right now, buy his tickets, buy his t-shirts, stream his music, etc., and so forth. Okay, before I go, I just wanted to say a big thanks to Americana Fest and everybody that works and organizes the Americana Fest for letting me come out here this week and keeping me so busy and making me feel so welcome here in Nashville. This has been a hell of a week. I've really had a good time. Also, all the people at all the clubs. You know, it's for people that have never been out here, have never attended something like this. It's fucking crazy. There's a lot of moving parts. And we got a lot of work done this week. So big thanks to everybody involved on all fronts. That's it for this week, kids. I'll be back soon in 2 weeks. I've got a lot of interviews in the can, so they'll be coming hot and heavy for quite a while. All right, that's it. Adios, amigos.
Be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by. There's a better homie waiting in the sky, Lord. Yeah, the